Great to have you. How are you doing?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Yeah, we're good. We do this, or do you want to? You go.
No,
It's your thing. Go on.
Pablo, give us a quick introduction into who you are, what you're building.
Perfect. So I'm Pablo. I'm the founder at Throxy, and we're building the first AI native sales agency. So we're helping people in traditional industries book meetings with the ideal customers.
Amazing. And so, yeah, let's dig a bit deeper. Like, what kind of stuff are you working? Where's AI coming into this kind of GTM process?
Perfect. So, ultimately, we are an agency, we're a service-led company, and our job is to do the entire business development. But I'm talking about AI native because it means in every single process of the company, we ask ourselves, can AI and automations make this motion better for the customer? Can we help them improve their go-to-market motion? What does that mean? It might mean using AI to qualify accounts and ensure that we only going after people that are in the ideal customer profile of our customer. It might mean using AI to research the prospect to ensure that we're sending a more relevant and valuable prospect email. Or it might also mean just using AI for our internal finances to avoid wasting time there.
This is interesting. We were literally just talking then. When I was reading about your description on LinkedIn, it says Throxy designs and executes complete done-for-you outbound systems. So, you even mentioned this can be from deliverability to list building to decision maker identification, and including the outreach on top of that. So, does this all operate in your tool? I'm trying to work in, like, if you approach sort of like a, I don't know, Series A or B, whatever, sort of B2B company that has some sort of outbound motion set up already, would they say, hey, this is our ICP, this is the information that we usually look for in terms of like a sales trigger to start the outbound process, like go and just run at it? Or would they sort of purchase Throxy? How would that work?
So it's more like the first thing that you mentioned. So that they come to us, and after we've signed and everything, after the sales process, we understand who the ideal customer is, and we put a lot of emphasis on this. Honestly, we ask very, very few questions about the customer itself because we don't want to know. We don't want to speak about them. This is a bit of good outreach. Good outreach is about their prospects. So I grill them questions about their ideal customers. What are the pain points that they're suffering every single day? How can my customer actually help them? So once we do that, we do execute the strategy, and you're correct, we execute it inside of Throxy. So while we don't operate in a SaaS model, in a traditional software model in which we rent our software for them to use, we are using Throxy to deliver the outcomes, to deliver the meetings, to deliver the business development.
Really interesting, quite a different model then. And you guys went through YC, right?
Yeah.
And I think you were founded back in 2023 and you went through YC earlier this year. Was that your first application to YC, or had you tried to get in earlier?
Yeah, so we had actually tried to get in earlier. The first time we got rejected fully. The second time we had an interview, but then we got rejected. And then the third time we did get an interview. Actually, we got 2 interviews and then we got accepted.
Amazing. And what changed in between, attempt 1, 2, and 3 that meant that attempt 3 was the one that got you in?
Honestly, our traction, I think. We started growing very fast, and that's my feeling. That's what got in. Actually, I never really asked Pete, our partner, what was like the thing that made us go in, but I think it's also a combination. But also the last thing, Bergen joined in slightly later, our third co-founder, and he helped operationalize Throxy quite a lot more. So maybe having that extra pair of hands also really helped.
Yeah, and I know that one of the things that YC talk about is like the strength of the founder team. They try and understand the founder dynamics. Because I think 2 of you are old school friends, is that right? You've been friends for years, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
What's it like building with a very old friend?
Well, I don't think you can build with all of your friends. I certainly couldn't. But with Arnaud, I think we had a very complementary set of skills. He's super technical, the smartest guy I know by far. Whereas I try to come in with a slightly different angle. I help with sales. So I think, at least for us, having that complementary set of skills in which everyone's doing their own thing was very helpful. But maybe with like some of my friends in which they have like more of a similar set to me, it would have been slightly harder. But honestly, with Arna has been a blast, amazing. And I think being friends also means that you know exactly who you're working with since the start. Of course, our relationship has evolved quite a lot. We're still good friends, and we also try to do things that are like completely non-work related sometimes. Sometimes it's difficult. We're not very good at this. But, but yeah, sometimes we just try to disconnect. For example, the other day we went for a run and we said, no Throxy, no phones, no anything. Like let's just chat. And yeah, the chat was completely different.
No, that's
Nice.
amazing.
Okay, so you can get away from it.
Yeah.
I've got a question. So you hired James Arnott 2 months ago as a founding engineer. He went kind of viral for essentially building this like Chrome extension that automatically made a user swipe right on him. So like you just couldn't not match with him basically. And the results of this, this is a post that you put up, Pablo. The results of this were 1,289 likes in 24 hours, basically. Kind of like a modern day Tinder swindler sort of vibe going on. Could you just talk a little bit about this, and then also like on a more serious note, like the founding engineer hiring process? What goes into that?
So honestly, the hiring process, I'm not super familiar on the ins and out. I just know are now interviewed over 100 people.
Wow.
We did hire a recruiter to help us
Yeah.
filter a lot more. I mean, one of the nice things about being YC is that the demand for our jobs goes up a lot. So we did have that first layer of interviews that was done by a recruiter. Very good job by them. But then I now personally interviewed over 100 people, and James stood up the most. Not only because of that, but I think Arna was telling me even during that interview, James was teaching him a lot of things. So I'm not sure about other companies, but like I think maybe because I'm too sales orientated, I feel everything's top of the funnel. And if you want a lot more opportunities in sales, just speak with 100 prospects. You'll find the best ones there. If you want the best recruitment, speak with 100 people. And maybe if you want 100 dates, you'll find the right match for you as well. I think that was a little bit with James. Honestly, he was amazing. But then when he came in, we actually did a 1 week trial with him, and like it was insane, the amount of shipping speed. And like I was like, I've always heard that onboarding an engineer takes like a lot of things for ramp up. That was not the case for James. Day one, he was producing value. Day two, he was even helping me with like some engineering go-to-market functions. Day three, he was like refactoring our whole database, running some crazy things AIs I barely understand. But like honestly, I think that's an amazing founding engineer, someone that can provide value straight away. And honestly, even though we did 1 week, on the first day I was like, all right, now we cannot let this person go.
No, that's amazing. Like real
That's
impact
sick.
from day one.
Yeah, that's cool.
I wanted. Sorry, you go ahead, Luke.
I was going to say, so you said obviously, you know, having that YC tag is like so good for demand. Before and when you were applying to YC, you said that, you know, your traction had grown really quickly. What was the most effective kind of distribution method to kind of grow Throxy? You know, was it outbound? Was it kind of like trying to you know, post on LinkedIn and things like that? What's the most effective way?
So for us, we're an outbound company, we're an outbound agency, so it made sense that we had to become the best at this. So actually 90% of our pipeline comes from our own outbound. We're trying to go from other channels, but for example, even till this day, we have not spent a single dollar on ads. Now we're trying to grow a little bit more organically, content, SEO, but very organic, and then outbound. Look, being able to dog food your own product, and this doesn't only apply to Throxy, but like any company that is able to do that just has such an unfair advantage. This is not always the case. For example, if you sell software to manufacturing companies, you might not be able to use your own software because you're not a manufacturing company yourself. But for us, right now, actually owning the entire outbound. It's actually Arena, even though he's the CTO, he's the one owning the entire Throxy outbound. And that has two amazing benefits. First of all, user feedback. You get automatically user feedback because you are your own user. We have 100% user feedback loop and we don't lose any information. And then number two, for me, imagine my calendar packed. I don't have to be me doing the prospecting. and I can just focus solely on growth. And I think that hack, like not going the easy route of ads, which I'm not saying we won't do in the future, but not now, because we're an outbound agency. We need to be the best at outbound in the world. And if we cannot grow with outbound, neither will our customers.
And
that's
do,
cool.
do you use that in your sales process? Do you kind of use your own case study? Do you say, look, this is how successful we've been at doing it using our own tools and frameworks?
I mean, so sometimes I don't even have to mention it. Like sometimes it's very funny. I was speaking on Monday with someone, and they're like, "And how do I know that this works?" And before I could answer, he was like, "Well, I answered to your email, which I assume you use." And I was like, "That's correct."
Yeah, it's like you're on the call, right? So
Yeah,
That's pretty
that's
sick.
such a good sales tactic. I love that.
That's cool.
Your background is sales as well, right? You've been working GTM, B2B for, I don't know, a number of years before coming and founding Throxy. How are you using your own experience to build the best outbound machine that you can?
So my own experience was honestly a lot more helpful in the early days, especially when I was doing like the whole product. So even though Arnaud was the one coding, it had to be me suffering the pains, and I was telling him, look, one of the things that took me the longest was when I was selling into enterprise, I had to go into their 10K or annual report, but I was only interested about certain keywords because those were the ones related to the value proposition. Then with this, I would do stakeholder mapping of the entire account, and then I would realize, oh, this one is the decision maker, this guy's the champion, let's multi-thread the deal. And I was actually building the platform. But honestly, now I think my team, the product team, knows a lot more about outbound than I did. They breathe outbound day in, day out. So now, honestly, I'm focusing about go-to-market just from a sales perspective. Like how do I ensure that the outbound that comes in is highly qualified, and then I can give that feedback from the calls. And then that also helps me because essentially I'm user one of Throxy. They do the outbound for me, and I have to put that feedback. So the entire customer experience that we do for our customers, we have customer 1, 2, 3, 4. Customer 1 is Throxy, and we have ourselves in the CRM as a customer, how many meetings we're booking, what are the qualifications like, how much revenue everything's bringing. So again, it's the importance of becoming your own customer, and that gives you such an unfair advantage.
Yeah, that's a really cool point. And I think that, anyone who's been in the sort of BDR / business development / SDR trenches knows how tough the job is, right? Like sometimes you'll be calling, you have both you have multi-channels to outbound off. You have LinkedIn, email, calls. Sometimes you send gifts, whatever it is. But I think in my experience, the best channel has always been like a cold call. Like with emails, it was quite, I mentioned earlier, you have like deliverability rates, like are they going to bounce? Is the email right? Are they just going to open them loads? Like, I'm finding it interesting that you decided to attack that area when, like, in this world of, you've got these AI BDRs, right? I think I'm forgetting the names of some of them. 11x was one of them. But like, how come you went to focus in on email and not calls?
So I think this comes with two things. The first one, I think the whole email aspect is a lot more technical than people think. And this is why I think maybe Arna and the product team are just much better than me now. Because a lot of people think that good outbound just means, oh, you send a good email. But like, no, there's a lot of things going in the background. There's the relevance, like the deliverability and all of the systems that you have to set up in place. Data pipelines. How do you manage a database of billions of records to really find your ICP? We've lost the plot. That's no longer sales. This is a technical problem. But with that, it enables the salesperson to do actually much higher activities. For example, I'm back on the phones, and Throxy helps both directly and indirectly with this. Directly, because one of the things that we do when we do all this research to send emails, we're also finding phone numbers along the way. So I actually receive on Monday a list of phone numbers of qualified people. I can multi-channel outreach rather than having to do the research, try to find the phone number, play with 100 other systems. So that's the direct way. But indirectly, it's like, just freeing up my time to do other things, go to market motions, content, being able to be here rather than now. So it's the abundance mindset of go-to-market that I think really pushes companies forward.
And what do you think about AI versus humans in sales? Do you think that AI will never touch, will never be able to do as well as a real human? Or do you see the role of AI growing and sort of creeping onto that human's typical role?
So as an AI native sales agency, this is honestly one of the questions that we have every single day at every single process. One of the things that I always ask the team is like, can we automate this? And they say yes. And then I ask, can we automate it well? And the answer is not always yes. And sometimes you realize you need to hire a human for that job. And I'll give you a very brief example. Copywriting. Human copywriters right now are better than AI. I don't care what anyone says. We have the data. I think a lot of people are realizing this, and people hate bad AI generated messages. But another example, AI to actually find your ideal customers. How are you going to go into the website of every single one of your customers to find a specific insight when you have 1,000 customers? It's impossible. So AI is much better. So I think that right now there's definitely places where AI and automations are already outperforming humans, and there's some that humans are better at right now. But then the next question is, for how much longer?
Yeah.
And the answer is I'm not sure. And this is why we keep asking this question. Maybe tomorrow GPT-5 or GPT-6 comes and is crazy at doing copywriting. I'll be the first person to relocate my team that's doing expert copywriting for them to do higher value activities. But this is why we have to be very open-minded and not automate everything for the sake of automating, because then you're just generating shit, and that's what the prospect sees.
And look, we're running out of time. We've got a few more minutes. I want to get on to what's next for Throxy. You know, you came out of YC early this year. You're obviously seeing good traction. We read some of the customer testimonials as well. What are you looking to do over the next year or so, and where do you want to take Throxy?
So I think we want to truly become a growth partner for everyone. We want our customers to be dependent on us, but in a good way, in a very healthy way, that we run their entire outbound because we're better and we're able to do this, and no one else is, and they can focus on other things. So I think that's the most important thing.
Ooh,
And
sorry.
yeah, awesome. But yeah, basically become the growth partner of our customers and enabling them to grow much faster. I mean, we've had already some customers raising very huge rounds of multiplying their revenue times 3 times. I want to do that for 100 other companies in the next year.
Well, that's amazing
Yeah, that's
results.
cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Awesome.
And look, I guess, like, are you planning on expanding the team? Are you tapping into new markets? What does that look like?
Yeah, so our team is probably gonna, now we're gonna be like 14 people from like 6 months ago, and like 5 2 months ago. So we are rapidly increasing, but while keeping the burn very, very well. I think the era of increasing and growing without profit is no longer there. I think you can keep growing while maintaining very healthy margins. And that's what we want to do. Is if I'm going to hire people, I have to earn that right. I have to sell more, I have to add more value, and only then I'll be able to grow the team.
And just quickly, what's the split in those 14 people? How many are product? How many are kind of like?
So
Great.
3 engineers,
Yeah.
7 product. So you realize there
Wow.
that most of we're still service led,
Yeah.
because that's what we offer. And then 3 go to market.
Okay, nice.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, look, we're about to hit time, so that was an absolute pleasure. If
Yeah,
you have
thank
anything
you.
to announce, anything to discuss, anything to promote, we'd love to share it with the audience.
Yeah, so come back.
Yeah.
Cool things coming soon, I can say that.
Yeah,
Okay,
exciting.
great.
No, we'll be
Yeah.
watching along. But thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome.
Best luck with it.
Thanks very much.
Thank
Cheers.
you, bye-bye.